The morning sun draped a warm, golden light over the tiny town of Maplewood, illuminating its streets and whispering promises of a new day. Nathan Cole sat behind the counter of his small bicycle repair shop, Nathan's wheels dust motes dancing in the beams that filtered through the window. The scent of grease and rubber wrapped around him like a well-worn blanket. At just 23, the job was as much a part of him as the calluses on his hands, hard-earned reminders of long days spent fixing the bicycles he loved. Yet, like the worn-down tires hanging on the extreme left side of the shop, Nathan was on the ragged edge of wear and tear, scraping by on the little income the shop yielded. He had inherited the shop from his father, who had passed when Nathan was just 15. With its rundown state, the town's general disdain for its once popular cycling community, and the looming shadow of bills that grew like weeds each week, Nathan was acutely aware of the fragile balance of his existence. Financial strain hung heavy on his shoulders, often overshadowing the joy he derived from his work, but he pushed forward, determined to keep the legacy alive, always holding fast to the idea that kindness could shift the tide of hardship. At the heart of his values was a belief he'd learned from his father to lend, to give, and to show compassion, even when he himself had little to spare. And it was this very creed that nudged him to tend to the needs of others, often at the expense of his own. One crisp autumn afternoon, as the leaves danced whimsically to the ground, a dingy bus rolled to a stop outside his shop, the air echoing with the fervor of a gnarled engine. Nathan stepped outside to greet an old friend, Toby, a boy he'd known since childhood. Toby's worn clothes hung loosely around his frame, a sympathetic mirror to Nathan's own struggles. Still, the two boys had ensured that laughter often punctuated the heavy silence of their lives. They spent afternoons riding their bicycles along the river path, unwinding their dreams. But this day was different. Nathan could see the worry etched in Toby's eyes. He learned that his friend's family was facing a devastating financial crisis. And just like that, Toby's dreams were slipping through the slender fingers of desperation. They stood side by side, bicycles strewn across the gravel, as Toby confided that he would soon need to sell his bike for a mere fraction of its worth to help support his family. Without deliberation, Nathan unclipped the lock from his most prized possession, a shiny blue BMX with intricate detailing and worn grips from years of use. "Take it," he said, the words spilling forth with urgency. The bike represented countless rides, triumphs, and escape from burdens, but in that moment it was just a means to help his friend. Toby looked incredulous, shaking his head. "I can't, Nathan. This is yours. You love it." "I do love it," Nathan replied firmly, "but I love you too. You need it more than I do right now." He pushed the bike toward Toby, who finally accepted the generous gesture, tears glistening in his eyes. That day, Nathan didn't just give away his bike, he gave away a part of himself, the power of kindness blossoming between them, the weight of friendship momentarily lifting their scattered spirits. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows on the dirt road, Nathan felt an unfamiliar warmth spread through him. It was as if the sacrifice had rekindled a flame within him, the act of generosity slicing through his own shadows of disappointment. Little did he know that years later, the ripples from this simple act would impact his life in the most unexpected ways. Each moment held the magic of possibility, Nathan realized. There was something more significant than the act itself, nestled in the kindness shared. He understood, deep down, that in a world where vulnerability was so often cloaked in fear, the brave act of giving could seed an unforeseen transformation. As Nathan swept the floor later that evening, part of him still buzzed with the thrill of seeing Toby embrace the fresh chapter of his life. He might not have seen it then, but as he completed the final rounds of his daily duties, the universe was conducting a sacred choreography, preparing for the inevitable course of their destinies to realign. In the twilight hours, the boy who gave away his bicycle knew he had not simply lost something dear, but had planted a seed of hope. With eyes focused on the horizon, Nathan stood amidst the hum of his shop, believing that kindness possessed the power to alter the trajectory of lives. As the stars slowly twinkled to life overhead, stirring gentle whispers of fate, Nathan felt deep within his heart that this was only the beginning. The days that followed Nathan's selfless act carried an air of rejuvenation through Maplewood. Autumn leaves swirled in golden eddies around the town, igniting a spirit of warmth and connection. The warmth projected from the bond of friendship that Nathan and Toby shared. Inspired by Nathan's generosity, Toby landed odd jobs around the neighborhood, mowing lawns, walking dogs, and keeping an eye on elderly neighbors who needed a hand. Each day brought him a little closer to the dreams that had seemed lost just days prior, each paycheck growing like the leaves that spiraled down from the trees. Meanwhile, Nathan poured himself deeper into the work at his bicycle shop. Each bicycle he repaired carried a hint of newfound resolve, like sprigs of hope springing from the ground. As the number of bikes rolling out those doors increased, so did a couple of inquiries about repair services from parents who recalled their own childhood spent on bikes. Nathan poured everything he had into restoring the simple joy that bicycles could bring, not only to children but also into the nostalgic recollections of their parents. One frosty morning, while Nathan was polishing the last of 3 bicycles due for pickup, a woman entered the shop, her breath fading in crystal wisps in the chilly air. She introduced herself as Mrs. Anderson, a local art teacher who had recently moved to Maplewood. She explained that her husband had been laid off from work, and with bills piling up, she was hoping to start a small cycling class for local kids to instill a sense of community and creativity. Nathan listened, intrigued by the concept. I suppose they could use bikes, he suggested, his thoughts racing. Could you use a couple of rentals? Yes, but we don't have a budget. It's just something I'm hoping to get the community involved in, but I want to offer it for free, Mrs. Anderson said earnestly. We could use a local partner, and your shop could really benefit from the exposure. Excitement bubbled up in Nathan's chest. Here was a chance to breathe a life into more than just bicycles. This could be a bridge to the heart of Maplewood, something to bind them all together. I'd be happy to lend you some bikes, Nathan said, his mind churning with possibilities. Days turned into a week, and they organized the first ever Maplewood Cycling Day. Mrs. Anderson brought art supplies, and Nathan supplied bikes, donning a bright apron to guide the eager kids. The morning began with laughter and clinking paintbrushes as the little ones transformed their bikes into vibrant canvases. With every paint stroke, Nathan observed the joy sprouting around him, his heart soaring as children rode around the park with colors bright against the fall backdrop. It wasn't only about the bicycles, it was about the collective sense of community blossoming among them, an exhilarating sense of possibility that tinged the air. As they wrapped up the day, Nathan approached Toby, who was now helping with setup. How were things at home, he asked, trying to gauge his friend's mood. Toby's smile had returned, his character growing stronger each day as he adapted to his challenges. Much better. Even my little sister got a job babysitting the neighbors' kids. We'll be caught up soon, Toby explained, hitting the rim of the bike wheel with a stick, sending it flying across the grass. And I've been saving up for something special, too, he added with a twinkling eye. What's that? A new bike, of course. You know I want something cool like you had. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the world in delicate pastels, Nathan felt a sense of pride swell within him, not just for the happiness created that day, but the ripples of kindness extending far beyond them. From the corners of his heart, he knew he had planted more than just a seed of goodwill. This was a forest of connection taking root. Weeks passed, and Maplewood Cycling Day transformed into a tradition. With each event, volunteers signed up, donating time and resources to keep it alive. Nathan's shop flourished, more families embraced cycling as a means of connection, fun, and fitness. And the financial impact was palpable. With the increased traffic at the shop, he secured a loan to expand the business. New wheels, colorful accessories, a cozy corner for repairs adorned with cheerful posters became a cozy gathering hub. Nathan knew he wouldn't be fighting to keep the shop afloat much longer. The debt that had loomed overhead slowly began to dissolve into manageable payments. Even a couple of regulars offered odd jobs, occasionally lending a hand with the more challenging repairs. Then there was the realization that kindness could yield dividends far richer than money. Toby's own small incomes blossomed. A project for the local library caught the attention of the council, and before long he was well on his way to proposing a bike safety campaign that would include educational workshops. Nathan watched Toby advocate with passion and conviction, marveling at how far the boy had come from the raw edge of despair. With the newfound momentum, they organized more workshops, culminating in a fundraising event to benefit local families struggling financially. Fundraisers where children displayed their painted bicycles, storytelling nights about the adventures of Maplewood, and bake sales by local moms brought together the very fabric of the community, stitching lives together through support and generosity. As Onion Falls, their town's annual fall festival, approached, Nathan felt a renewed sense of belonging. The sidewalks were laden with stalls decked in festive garland, laughter spilling forth from every corner. The event, organized to feature local talents, turned into an invitation for Nathan to showcase his bicycles. After all, he was now considered more than just a mechanic. He had shaped lives by nurturing a vibrant community atmosphere. Not only did he set up a booth, sharing stories of their journey, but he also included a bike maze for the kids. That afternoon, standing in the midst of gleeful children pedaling through makeshift hoops, Nathan spotted Mrs. Anderson stirring a pot of cider, her kids dashing by with painted bicycles, delight lighting their faces. In that simple moment, he realized that this indeed was the essence of everything he had ever hoped for: connection, kindness, and community, which he had somehow sparked through a single generous act. As twilight leaned in, casting long shadows over the event, Nathan felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Around him, a tapestry of lives intertwined, bound together through the weaving of hope. The financial aspect paled in comparison to the emotional fulfillment. The idea that the ripple of kindness could transform not just individuals, but entire communities pressed upon him like a revelation. That night, as the fire pits crackled and laughter wove its way through the crisp evening air, Nathan stepped away to gaze at the stars. The universe seemed alive with potential, and as he inhaled the sweet scent of wood smoke and joy, he whispered a small thanks into the night sky. What started as an act of kindness had nurtured deep roots of resilience and transformation, leading every one of them toward a brighter tomorrow. And for Nathan, while the weight of life would still ebb and flow, he understood that kindness is not transient. It vibrates throughout time, igniting more than just a moment, but crafting a legacy that flourishes like the blooms in the warm embrace of spring, a tale of enduring hope. As autumn faded into winter, Maplewood braced itself for the seasonal chill. The air grew crisp and the town transformed into a picturesque scene with snowflakes dancing like stars against a canvas of white. Shops adorned their windows with festive decorations, and townsfolk busily prepared for the upcoming holiday season. Nathan stood behind the counter of his bicycle shop one frosty afternoon, his breath visible as he looked out at the first snowfall of the year. While the winter months often brought a slump in bike repairs, he felt a sense of contentment as he reminisced about the year gone by. The seeds of kindness he had planted with his friendship to Toby had germinated, blossoming into a community knit together with compassion and support. As the warm light from the shop's windows flickered, Nathan organized the inventory, his thoughts drifting to the next Maplewood cycling day. It had become a beloved tradition, and as he planned, he envisioned it evolving into a larger community event incorporating winter festivities like a bike parade, where families would decorate their bicycles with colorful lights and ribbons. At the thought of uniquely blending the joy of cycling with holiday cheer, a smile grew on his face. Around him, the sounds of cheerful laughter floated in, shattering the silence when Toby and a few of their friends entered the shop. Each boy was bundled in thick coats, their cheeks rosy from the cold. They had come to help Nathan prepare for the community holiday fundraiser. He was organizing an event where the sale of bicycles would contribute to a local food bank. The thought of giving back felt like a warm embrace, an extension of everything that had brought them here. "Hey, Nathan," Toby chimed, his eyes twinkling with enthusiasm. "We've been spreading the word about the bike parade. Everyone's really excited." Nathan's heart swelled at Toby's exuberance. "That's fantastic. I think we should get started on decorating some bikes then. We can make a day of it." The boys nodded eagerly, rifling through baskets of twinkling lights, festive ribbons, and colorful streamers. As laughter filled the room alongside the sound of crinkling paper, Nathan marveled at the transformation in Toby. No longer was he the timid boy who had once felt lost and in despair. Now he was a pillar of the community, guiding others toward kindness and laughter. Over the weeks leading to the event, Nathan noticed a shift within himself, too, a confidence that had not existed before. With each interaction, he felt more able to inspire change and showcase not only the joy of cycling but the importance of community. His shop flourished during this time, with design ideas sparking interest from local families eager to invest in their children's first bikes, knowing these donations would help less fortunate families in need of warmth and sustenance during winter. As the evening of the fundraiser approached, the town buzzed with excitement and anticipation. Bright lights adorned every corner, the streets lined with cheerful decorations. Nathan and Toby worked diligently, setting up tables filled with baked goods and donating bicycles, and ensuring everything gleamed in the glow of holiday lights. On the evening of the event, families gathered at the community center, the energy electric in the air. The sight of children giggling as they admired the bikes made Nathan's heart soar. During the festivities, when he stepped up to the podium and looked out at the eager faces of his neighbors, he felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. For many of us, this season is a time for reflection and gratitude, Nathan started, his eyes scanning the room filled with the warmth of community. Last year, some of us were in need and others like Toby and so many of you here stepped up to give back. Our acts of kindness have created ripples, and tonight we gather to celebrate not just what we give, but who we have become. The crowd erupted in applause, and Nathan felt a redness bloom across his cheeks. It wasn't just him on that stage, he stood surrounded by the essence of their shared journey. With each passing moment, families joined together to bid on the donated bicycles while enjoying hot cocoa and freshly baked goodies. As the night progressed, the spirit of giving soared, capturing the hearts of all. But what struck Nathan the most was seeing Toby's siblings and friends dart through the space, their laughter ringing like euphoric bells, embracing the essence of unity they had all created. Among the bikes donated, one particular bicycle caught Nathan's eye. It was painted bright blue and adorned with shimmering decorations reminiscent of the very BMX he had passed to Toby years ago, a familiar joy washing over him. Watching Toby's younger sister race around the hall, her giggles ringing through the air, Nathan felt a sense of joy overflowing within him, a realization that kindness spreads like wildfire, igniting hope wherever it lands. As the night began to draw to a close, Nathan caught a glimpse of Toby, surrounded by family and friends, holding up a large sign indicating the total funds raised for the local food bank. The crowd cheered, and tears of gratitude welled in Nathan's eyes. It wasn't just about the money raised, it was about the relationships forged, the laughter shared, and the lives touched that night. As the evening wound down, attendees began to collect their coats and bid farewell. Nathan felt a profound sense of completion settle within him. Before they left, Toby approached him, his eyes filled with admiration. "You know, Nathan, this wouldn't be possible if you hadn't shown your kindness to me. I've learned that we can create something beautiful from nothing but friendship." Nathan smiled, recalling the day he had given Toby that BMX bike, the humble beginning of a journey that had impacted so many lives. With this realization, he embraced Toby. "And I'm grateful for the opportunity to give back. The true riches lie in connections, not materials." As he prepared to close the shop for the night, he looked out at the snow-covered streets, the memories created that evening inscribed deeply in his heart. The warmth of their kindness continued to radiate, forming an unbreakable bond that extended far beyond just friendships. It had transformed the very fabric of their community. In the months that followed, further positive transformations erupted in Maplewood. Nathan's bicycle shop thrived, enabling him to hire 2 new employees, and the annual holiday parade became a cherished tradition of joy and giving. With each swirling snowflake that fell outside, he saw a reflection of the kindness that had come full circle, illuminating a path grounded in hope. Toby's family, once pressed under the heavy burden of need, started an initiative of their own. They provided bicycle safety workshops for children and families, using their success to reach out to a broader demographic. They'd turned the lessons learned from Nathan and the community into a lasting legacy of giving. With their experiences woven into the very tapestry of Maplewood, Nathan found himself more inspired than ever, curating his ecosystem of hope and friendship. He dedicated time to mentoring young kids in the community as they learned how to fix bicycles, echoing the spirit of generosity that had changed his life. Each child he instructed offered a fresh reminder of the importance of kindness and the ripple effects it created. On a particularly snowy day, Nathan found himself reflecting on the path life had taken. He recalled the weight of loneliness he once carried, the boy who had seen despair, and how one small act had unfurled an infinite spectrum of joy. His love for bicycles had transcended the mere mechanics. It had given birth to a community of hope, a sanctuary for families, and a legacy of kindness. Years later, as Nathan stacked bicycles neatly along the newly expanded shop, he embraced the notion that kindness reverberated endless circles. Each person he met, just like Toby, had the potential to inspire others. On the coldest of days, Nathan understood directly just how warm a little kindness could be, a reminder that in times of struggle, hope nestles just beyond the horizon as long as you're willing to reach out and give someone your bike.